So essay writing has significantly changed. And if I have to give my opinion after 7th of August, what has become more challenging is, but has become more challenging because your grammatical knowledge will be checked, your knowledge about the content will be checked, your typing speed will come into play, everything will come into play, and you'll have only 20 minutes. Hello, everybody. A very good afternoon. Let me welcome you to PTE Sathi, and I'm your PT and IELTS instructor, presently PT instructor. And talking about me, I'm Jeet Chetri. I've taken this test several times, and I have been helping students prepare for their examination. This is what I got in my recent examination after the change. And what I'm going to do today is I'll just give you an overview of PTE. I would also like to talk about what has changed in PTE. And then after, we'll be taking a deep dive into a particular question, describe image. I am sure that you are pretty aware about the test, but still I'm going through this. As you can see on your screen, the test has become slightly lengthier. It will be lasting more than 2 hours. And within that more than 2 hours, you'll be answering more than 75 questions. There would be 22 different types of questions. In fact, there are 2 new questions which are recently introduced. As you can see on your screen, the test is divided in 3 parts. The first part consists of speaking and writing. I've written 7 and 2 there. What I mean here is 7 speaking question types and writing 2 different types of questions. And the first part would be around 80 minutes. Then you go to the second part, reading section. You'll be having 5 different types of questions, and it will be around 30 minutes. The final part of the test is listening. You'll be having 8 different types of questions, and it will be around 40 minutes. But before you start the test, you'll have an introduction session where you have to give your personal information, and you need to speak more than 30 seconds. And my suggestion, try and use the entire 30 seconds or even 1 minute, because this is one way to reduce your nervousness. When you go inside the examination hall, it's pretty obvious that you'll be feeling butterfly inside your stomach. I'd say butterflies inside your stomach. So in order to reduce your nervousness, make use of that 30 seconds or 1 minute. Speak about yourself, because it's not going to be scored. You can just say, you can give your name, and then you can just make it up and say anything you would like to. And if you speak 1 minute in the introduction, I'm sure your nervousness will be reduced. And once you go to the speaking test, after that, you'll be fully confident. And I believe speaking is all about confidence. If you're confident, you'll be speaking better. If you're not going to speak, let's say, good English. So some might suggest you to skip the introduction part. I would not. Some might suggest you to say just your name and go to the next question, but I would not. I want you to speak entire 1 minute and speak anything you want. There can be grammatical errors, no problem. There can be repetition in vocabulary, no problem, because it's not going to be scored. So unlike in the past, the test has become slightly lengthier. And that means you might be feeling exhausted, especially after the end of the speaking test, because you'll be speaking more than 20 minutes almost continuously. So speaking test can be slightly exhausting. And then there are 2 new questions, and those 2 new questions are not so difficult, but they will give you the same kind of feeling. Now, talking about the speaking section, these are the 7 different types of questions you'll encounter in the test. You can see 2 new questions added, and those 2 new questions are summarize group discussion and respond to a situation. And honestly, I love that last question type, responding to a situation. In my opinion, this has to be the most practical question. You'll be given a situation, and you have to respond to that situation. It's not a tough question. Just a situation will be given, and you have to respond to that situation and speak more than 30 seconds. However, the new question, summarize group discussion, can be slightly lengthier, because you have to listen to an audio and you have to speak for more than 1 minute, and that can be kind of exhausting. Well, 2 new questions, but that's not the all. In fact, there are some significant changes that have taken place in the scoring. There are some scoring enhancements which have taken place in PTE after 7th of August. The first thing that you'll notice, read aloud, which used to be the super important question in the test, it is no longer an important question. You're getting 6 to 7 read aloud question, and those 6 to 7 questions will contribute only 10% of your speaking score. And so recently I have taken the examination, and I experimented certain strategies there. And my conclusion is, read aloud is not an important question. Even if you ignore this question, literally, I mean, even if you skip this question, you can still get very good points. Unlike this, the question which used to be least important in the past, that is describe image, has become more important. You'll be given 5 to 6 images, 25 seconds preparation time, and after that you have to describe images, and you have to speak at least 30 seconds. In fact, there isn't any time limitation, but I would suggest you to speak more than 30 seconds, because what happens when you speak more, you provide more content. And nowadays in describe image, content is going to be assessed by human evaluator. So certain things have changed, and we will talk about that in detail in the days to come. But this is how your speaking test looks like in the real examination. Okay, moving on to the writing section. Again, you have got the same 2 types of questions. However, the scoring enhancements have taken place here as well. And I would say dramatic scoring enhancements have taken place here. In the past, summarized written text that you can see there gave you only 11 points in the reading section and 11 points in the writing section. But now it contributes 25% to your reading section and 30% to your writing section. So this has become a super important question from the perspective of writing and from the perspective of reading. And one more thing I'd like to say here, your paraphrasing ability will be checked. Unlike in the past where you might have copied the sentences from the text, now you need to paraphrase it. Now, paraphrasing means you have to use your own expression, own structure. You cannot be copying and pasting, and copying and pasting is not a skill. Likewise, in essay writing, which used to give 15 points in the past, now will contribute 35% to your writing score. And we don't have any ifs and buts. We'll get only one essay. And within 20 minutes, we have to write a minimum 200 words. So 35%, and you have to write according to the question. You cannot have a tailor-made essay or what you call template, which are so popular in the market. You need to consider an essay as a unique puzzle. And you have to treat each essay in that way. You must have a different strategy for a different essay question. You can't be writing some tailor-made sentences for every essay. So essay writing has significantly changed. And if I have to give my opinion after 7th of August, what has become more challenging is writing. Speaking has become easier, I would say, but writing has become more challenging. Because your grammatical knowledge will be checked, your knowledge about the content will be checked, and then your typing speed will come into play. Everything will come into play, and you'll have only 20 minutes. And it's slightly unfair because I've got the experience of teaching IELTS. So in IELTS, what happened, we'll get 40 minutes to write an essay. Here we have got only 20 minutes to type a minimum 200 words. So considering that, I would say this is slightly unfair. So this is what happens in the writing section, which is actually in combination to speaking. So part 1 consists of speaking and writing. Then you move on to the reading section. Again, a challenging part. It's challenging because fill in the blanks, as you can see there, fill in the blanks drop down and fill in the blanks drag and drop. They play a vital role in your reading score. So if you're not good at fill in the blanks question, perhaps you'll be getting less points in the reading section. But we have some catch. We need to come up with some strategy, and our strategy can be, if fill in the blanks are tough questions to you, then you can fall back upon the question item called summarize written text. And there is one question in the listening test that contributes to reading section. But I'm not saying that we should be totally ignoring fill in the blanks question. We need to focus on fill in the blanks question. But for that, we need to improve these skills like academic vocabulary, collocation, and grammatical knowledge. Guys, have you got any idea regarding collocation? Or is it the first time you have heard of this?
I think it's like the words that go together.
Exactly. So you can define collocation in that way, the words which are frequently used together. To give you an example, I'd say strong coffee. We very often use it together. But what happens with second language learner? We use translation method in our learning. And sometimes in case of paraphrasing or in case of constructing a sentence, we end up making sentence, replacing a word which could be the synonymous word for another one. So because strong coffee, strong can be synonymous to, let's say, powerful. So you cannot be saying powerful coffee. So, we have little knowledge about collocations sometimes, and that will come into play in our writing section. Anyway, I will talk about that in detail in the days to come. So academic vocabulary will be required to deal with fill-ups questions, collocation, and grammar. And grammar is something which students often feel boring, but grammar can play a significant role when it comes to answering Philip's question. I could have given you example, but I have to move on to the next question. So I'll be giving examples in the days to come. So this in the days to come would be a very common expression for today. I hope it will not make you angry. Anyway, moving on to listening section, you'll get the same types of question with some scoring enhancement. The question type, summarize spoken text. That's the first question type, and you'll get only one question. And the rest of the question types, again, the same with some scoring enhancement. For example, fill in the blanks in the past contributed to writing section, but it does not contribute to writing section anymore. It gives you points in your listening section as only. Likewise, dictation used to be which contributed enormously in the past, but it is no longer that much important question. I mean, it will give you 30 points, more than 30 points, but not so important in comparison to past. So this is what happens in the listening section. And if I want, yes, you just look at this one. This is recently published by Pearson. This will give you a fair idea about the importance of the question. What we need to bear in mind is that all the questions are not equally important. Out of those 22 types of questions, there are certain questions which are important. And if you look at this scoring, it will give you a fair idea. Now, to make your tasks easier, I'm categorizing the question into two categories. The first one, extremely important. You have to nail these questions to get maximum points. If you're aiming to get superior score, you need to nail extremely important question and important question. Now, besides this, we have got questions which are not so important, but these questions are, you need to be spot on if you're aiming to get superior score. Like extremely important question, you need to nail it, and then important question as well, you need to nail it. And to talk about how PTE is going to be compared with IELTS, just look at these slides. If you're aiming to get superior score, which means IELTS 8, this has to be this is what you should be aiming at. And if you look at this speaking and writing section, you might feel it's slightly unfair, because to get 8 in your speaking, you should be getting 88 to 89. And again, in the writing, you should be getting 85 to 89. Now, one thing Pearson has not officially said, but from my experience with the students, I can almost confidently say that speaking, the total score of speaking is not 90. Therefore, getting 88 or even 90 in the speaking test is not a big deal. I believe it is somewhere around 110, the total score, but it is, in our score sheet, it will be reflected only 90, but the total score, in my opinion, is more than 100. And in similar way, in the writing, it will be around somewhere, it will be around 100 points, but you'll be getting only 90 there. So that's why getting 85 in the writing is not a big deal. Did you understand what I mean? It's a kind of radical claim I made, because in our score, we see 90, but actually that's not the total score. That's what I mean. In your speaking, you see the highest score is 90, but actually it's more than 90. And in similar way, in the writing, you get to see 90, the highest score, but actually it's more than 90. That's what I mean. Let's dive into the main question type that we are looking at today. A super duper important question in the test. If you can be spot on this question, most likely in your speaking, you'll be getting maximum points. But I would like to go back to the speaking test as a whole, and I'd like to talk about a few things. So let me go there first. Okay. Now, when you look at these questions in the speaking, what you can see here is, to get maximum points in the speaking, 3 things are important. Number 1, your listening ability. If you're not good at listening, you're not going to get maximum points in the speaking, because listening is interconnected with the speaking. You can see 4 types of questions there, where listening ability will be tested. For example, repeat sentence, your listening ability will be tested. Likewise, in retail lecture, your listening ability will be tested. And more importantly, summarized group discussion, your listening ability will be tested. So what I mean is, to get maximum points in the speaking, you need to be good at listening. And in similar way, speaking means you need to be good at pronunciation and fluency. Pronunciation does not mean accurate pronunciation. It actually means clear pronunciation. See, accuracy at this point of time is almost next to impossible, but you need to be loud and clear when it comes to pronunciation. Likewise, fluency does not mean speaking fast. It means speaking and achieving a smooth rhythm. You need to achieve smooth rhythm to be fluent. So what I mean here is, to get maximum points in the speaking, you need to be good at listening, pronunciation, and fluency. It can be as simple as this. So, and when I say pronunciation, I do not mean accurate pronunciation. And when I say fluency, I do not mean, fast speaking. Fluency, natural speed, creating smooth rhythm. Pronunciation is all about maintaining clarity. You don't need to use any accent when you're speaking, when you're describing any image. Okay, then let's look at that describe image. First thing first, I would like to provide you information related to the task. So you'll be getting 5 to 6 questions. Your questions can be line graph, pie chart, and so on. And let me categorize these images into 2 categories. Category 1, an image where you have to describe data or data. And then category 2, an image where you have to describe different information. So basically, we have got 2 types of images. An image where we have to describe data. I call it statistical diagram. And then the rest of the images where we have to describe information. So those are kind of information-driven images. And they can be life cycle, process diagram, a map, or a picture. For each image, you'll get 25 seconds preparation time. And in my opinion, that 25 seconds preparation time will pass in the blink of your eyes. It is not possible to jot down lots of points within that 25 seconds. However, if you consult any Pearson video, they'll show you jotting down lots of points, which I think is practically impossible. Since I've taken the examination 5 times, from that experience, I'm saying it. And then you should be speaking 30 to 40 seconds. I won't suggest you to speak 40 seconds. I think 35 seconds would be the maximum. Because what happens if you speak 40 seconds or up to 40 seconds, the recording will be over at any point of time, which means your conclusion can be incomplete. That could be one problem. And then another problem can be, if you're speaking 35 to 40 seconds, you might be huffing and puffing at the end of the 40 seconds, which means your fluency can be hampered. So if I were in your shoes, I would be speaking 30 to 35 seconds, not 40 seconds. I'll be practicing in such a way that every time I'm describing any image, I'm speaking only 30 seconds or maximum 35 seconds. Now, describe image question contributes 31% to your speaking test. And in this question, 3 major skills are going to be assessed. Your pronunciation, fluency, and content. Your grammar and vocabulary are not going to be checked. If you're good at grammar and vocabulary, that would be icing on a cake, cherry on top, but that's not going to be assessed. So my suggestion here is don't try to be grammatically accurate if it is not coming naturally. For the sake of being grammatically accurate or using high-sounding vocabulary, don't compromise your fluency. Because grammar and vocabulary at the end of the day are not going to be assessed. So you need to focus on pronunciation, fluency, and content. Now, regarding what change, this is a significant change, as you can see there. In the past, the content score was not connected with pronunciation and fluency. However, at present, if your content is irrelevant, there won't be any further scoring. Your pronunciation can be excellent. You maintain oral fluency, fine. But you're not going to get any points if you're saying irrelevant things. However, in the past, it was fine. You would have lost some points in the content, but you'd have got points in pronunciation and fluency in the past. But now, if your content is irrelevant, you're not going to get points in pronunciation and fluency, no matter how good your pronunciation and fluency is. So content has to be focused. And let me tell you, sometimes the examiner, besides AI, human evaluator will come into play. I don't think every student's answer will be assessed by a human evaluator. Maybe there would be kind of sampling out of, let's say, 100 students, maybe 5 or 10 students will go through that process where a human evaluator will come into play and he'll be marking your content part. So in that case, if you're that unlucky person, you might be getting some, serious hammering, I would say. So I'm not scaring you. Therefore, what I'm going to do is I'll be giving you a kind of structure where your answer would not be irrelevant. That's a good news. So unlike in the past, people used to say, blue is my favorite color. I can see a beautiful picture. I'm not going to give you that content. I would say that was good in the past, but in the present context, almost like a garbage. So we are not going to use such kind of, illogical structure now. We'll be using meaningful structure, maybe one illogical sentence. That's fine. At the end, we are human being. Within 25 seconds, we won't be able to say everything meaningful. That will be taken into consideration. So I'll be giving you a structure which is meaningful, which means content will be evaluated. The moment content will be evaluated, pronunciation and fluency are at your hand. So now let me talk about how we can maximize our points in the content. It's pretty straightforward. You don't have to do a daunting task to get 6 out of 6 in the content. Just keep it simple. Describe some of the important features that you think. Accuracy, that's not going to be checked. And try and use some connectives. Connectives such as in conclusion, when you're describing the conclusion part. Or when you're moving from highest to lowest, use a connective such as however. Or if you're moving from one stage to another stage, then use subsequently, or maybe after that. So the connectives actually depends on the diagram. I mean, if you're describing a pie chart, generally you talk about highest in the body paragraph, and immediately you'll be talking about the lowest. Generally, I'm saying. So when you start talking about or describing the lowest, use a connective. The connective can be however, or we have multiple options as well. Can you give me one option, guys? Just to bring you into the play, I'm asking this question. Can you give me one option in place of however?
In the other hand?
Almost there, guys. Dipesh, almost there. It's not exactly in the other hand. It's actually on the other hand. Almost there. That's a good try. And then one more, guys.
Furthermore. Nevertheless.
Wonderful. That's a high-sounding connecting word. I would never use that in my speaking test because, you know, when you say nevertheless, your pronunciation can go off the track. So I won't take that as a chance. I would be going with simple words such as in contrast. I think that's a simple one. If not in contrast, I would be going with whereas, although. These are the connecting words we can use. Now, if you feel comfortable, I'm not saying that you should not be using it, but if you feel comfortable using that word, it's absolutely fine. See, we don't have my way or highway wala style. We can go in our way. Eh? If you feel comfortable using nevertheless, nonetheless, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so to maximize our points in the content, basically we need to describe some important features and then connectives. And I'm saying some important features because I would like to point this with one diagram later on, and then look at that pronunciation part. This is something I found students struggling. The pronunciation of the students is not good. So we need to be good at pronunciation. And when I say good at pronunciation, AI is not expecting you to be accurate. Please look at this. You need to be easily understood, which means you must have clarity. Whatever the sound you produce, see, you'll be producing vowel sounds and consonant sounds. Whatever the sounds you'll be producing, it has to be clear. Now, in my opinion, and from my experience, I'm saying to achieve clarity in our pronunciation, two things are important. Number one, I mean mouth movement. And number two, TP, tongue position. See, basically we'll be using our mouth and tongue to produce sound. And if we do not have proper mouth movement and proper tongue positioning, I think our pronunciation is not going to be clear. So if you're practicing pronunciation, what you can do is initially you can have exaggerated mouth movement. Like for example, you're saying, let's say marking, content, which you don't have to do in the examination, but initially you can have that exaggerated mouth movement. Still, I'm not talking about content. My focus is on clarity, and to achieve clarity in pronunciation, you need to have proper mouth movement and proper tongue positioning. And to add this, let's say combine with this, it is always good if you have got confident voice. If you have got confident voice, it's I would say icing on a cake, cherry on top. Because what happens when you have got confident voice, even your pronunciation is slightly unclear, it can be compensated. It can be compensated because in your speaking test, what you need to bear in mind, you'll be producing almost 500 or 5,000, I would say almost more than 1,000 words. You know? So if one or two words are not pronounced clearly, that won't make any difference. I'd say it won't make any difference at all. So even if you're pronouncing a few words not clearly, it will not make a big difference because you're pronouncing lots of words in the speaking test. But you need to have confident voice. Then talking about fluency, it's not about fast speaking. Fluency is not about fast speaking. It's about maintaining smooth rhythm. And that rhythm comes with intonation. I mean, ups and downs in your voice. That's what we call intonation, which is difficult to master at this point of time. But I would say, don't hesitate when you are speaking. If you're not hesitating, then you will definitely maintain fluency. And even don't take long pauses. Forget about grammatical accuracy, but focus on taking less pauses and having less hesitation. That will give you smooth rhythm. Although intonation can be learned to be fluent. And when I say intonation, I mean in our speech, sometimes we go up and sometimes we go down. Sometimes we stretch a word, sometimes we stress a word. That is actually fluency. But unfortunately, it is misunderstood by students. Majority of the students believe that fluency is all about speaking fast. And what contributes to this kind of misperception is we have got some softwares in the market like AP Uni, Alpha PT, they would always encourage you to speak faster, to be fluent. And that's not the way the examination will be wanting you to be. Okay, then moving on to an organization that we are going to make. So before giving a structure, I'm giving you an organization. Now, if you understand this organization, I don't think you need a structure. See, what if you're describing an image, just, divide your answer in 3 different parts. It's like introduction, where you describe the title and you might be adding 1 sentence there. So that's additional information, which is optional. So in the introduction, you're expected to describe the title in whatever way possible. You don't have to follow any set pattern or a set template. You can describe the title in whatever way possible. You can come up with the sentence like the title is, the heading is, or you can say the pie chart shows. Everything is acceptable. And then you can add 1 more sentence where you can talk about different segments or different elements. That is optional. The sentence can be overall, it compares. You can just say a few words from the image. But let me tell you, that's optional. And in the body part, just describe the highest, maybe the second highest, and then lowest, similar, different, increase, and decrease. Now, at this point of time, we need to take a pause and then ask ourselves, is it possible to describe everything? And your answer is absolutely not. You won't be able to describe everything that you see there. So you have to pick and choose. And in that case, the best option can be highest, and maybe the lowest, and then 1 more sentence similar. And if you're describing a line graph, you can talk about the trend, increasing trend or decreasing trend. And then go to the conclusion. In the conclusion, you have got lots of options. You can just repeat the title in the conclusion, or you can talk about the overall trend, or you can talk about what you learned after describing the image. And honestly speaking, the last 2 options are really difficult. They are really difficult. Within 25 seconds, you won't be able to understand anything out of that image. I often use this expression, and I'm using it right now. I believe when you get described image in the examination, you'll have the experience of, deer on the headlight. And by the time you get consciousness, you'll find the recording has started. So, understanding the gist or, coming up with the overall trend can be difficult. So you can simply fall back upon describing the title in the conclusion. So altogether, I can see 5 sentences here. Introduction consisting maybe 2 sentences, body 3, and then conclusion 1. Introduction 2 or 1, then body 3 sentences, and then conclusion. Now I am sharing a structure that I used in my previous examination. Not exactly this. I used this one in my previous examination. But I'm not saying, guys, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying because of this structure I got 9. That would be a wrong claim. Had I used the same this structure, I would have got 9. That's what my hunches tell me. Because, whatever the structure, pronunciation is the same. Fluency is the same. The structure will give me just cushioning. Cushioning means I can take a long breather because I don't have to say highest at the beginning. I can say as far as the important details are concerned. See, it's a long breather I'm having. We can immediately notice that. Again, I'm not saying exactly anything from the image. So I'm getting a kind of breather. So structures will not give you 90. It's actually the pronunciation, how you deliver it. But anyway, I'm giving you 2 structures. This is the one which I think can be quite beneficial because it has got long cushioning words. I call it cushioning words, but you can say linking words, like long linking words. What I mean by that is like, as far as the important details are concerned, we can immediately notice that. So that's a long linking word. Furthermore, it can also be seen that. And then when you come to the conclusion, to conclude, the picture provides detailed information about. So it has got long linking words, which will definitely enhance your fluency. You can call them fluency enhancer. However, when you look at this one, we do not have that long fluency enhancer words. So out of these 2 structures, you can use anyone you like. And the way you deliver it will give you the points, not the structure. I'm saying it again, I'm reiterating, the way you deliver these structures will give you the points, not the structure itself. Now, in the context of this particular image, if you are using the first structure, what you need to figure out in your 25 seconds preparation time is the highest. And the highest is United States. And please don't try to be meaningful. Don't say United States is the most popular destination for international. That is not possible. Right? So just say highest. And which one is the lowest? Germany. Or you can go with others. And then look at similarities. Canada and Australia, you can say almost similar. So if you go with this structure to describe this, with this structure, your answer can be the given image is a pie chart that describes international students across countries. Also, it compares Canada and Australia. As far as the important details are concerned, we can immediately notice that the highest percentage was in the United States, which was 45%. In contrast, the lowest was in Germany, which was 5%. Furthermore, it can also be seen that Canada and Australia had almost similar percentages. To conclude, the picture provides detailed information about international students across countries. Now, when you have a structure like this, it will make your task much easier. Unlike, nothing, and then you're just describing. Yes, your English can be good, but if you have nothing at the back of your mind, there is every chance of getting stuck. You can also go with this structure, but here, what is the difference? If you look at these two structures, the difference that you see here is you are using topic. You're not just saying highest percentage. You're saying the topic. So you're becoming more specific. You're becoming more specific means you'll say the highest international students. So in that way, even human evaluator will check your answer. Your answer is quite meaningful. It was meaningful here, but it was all slightly generic. But when it comes to this one, this is a natural answer because you're using topic. And look at that conclusion part. We're not saying the picture provides detailed information. Instead, we are talking about the popularity of something, or the importance of something, or dominance of something. Now, in the context of this image, you could have simply said, to conclude, the image reveals the popularity of United States. And if you want to make it slightly more meaningful, you can say among international students. Now, when I give you these structures, I never mean it's my way or highway, or this is the end of the world. You can tweak with the structure as per your convenience. You can tweak the structure as per your convenience. Likewise, here you can tweak. For example, if you feel less comfortable saying this word, to conclude, you can say in conclusion, or you can say overall. If you don't feel comfortable saying this word, reveals, you can say the image shows, or you can say indicates. The image indicates. So tweaking is absolutely fine. But try and make your answer around this structure. That's what I mean. And this structure, or even this structure, will be suitable for any statistical diagram. Now, what I mean by statistical diagram: pie chart, line graph, bar graph, and table. Let's look at this as an example. And can I ask anyone from the class to describe this image? It would be good if you volunteer. Instead of naming, just give a try. Just give a try. If you were to describe this image, how would you? Would you just give a try? And let me tell you one thing: a good try is half the job done.
Yeah, okay, I'll give a short try. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I was taking the test, what I would say is the image provided is a line graph showing the rate of unemployment in the UK. On the x-axis, we can see the years through 2005 to 2010. And then the y-axis, we can see percent from 0 to 12%. We can see that in 2005, it was the lowest from almost amounting to maybe 5%, going all the way to 12% in 2010. There was a fluctuation between 2006 and 2009. And in conclusion, I would say the image provides a good description of the rate of unemployment throughout the years.
Now, what happens when you use certain expression so frequently, your answer would be called templated response. And in that case, most likely you'll get lowest point possible. So just remove those expressions like we can see or I can see. Instead, you can use the expressions like it can be seen once, and then it can be immediately noticed. So these are slightly different expressions. So don't go back to those previous expressions that we used to use, like I can see, we can see, because these expressions will make your answer templated response. Am I understood? Am I understood?
Yep.
So if I were you describing this image, I would just go with the structure that I showed you. The first one would be the given line chart provides information about the rate of unemployment in the UK. Overall, it compares unemployment from 2005 to 2010. As far as the important details are concerned, the highest unemployment was in 2010, which was around 12%. In contrast, the lowest was in 2005, which was under 6%. Furthermore, the overall trend was upward. To conclude, the image provides detailed information about the rate of unemployment in the UK. See, I became fluent. I got stuck with the dates, right? Since it's not so visible here, but I think I was fluent because I was falling back upon the template or the structure I showed to you. And you came up with the raw, original, and I would say freestyle response.
Yes.
Your response was kind of freestyle. You started with 2005, and then you went to 2008, and then after you said it went up to 12% in 2010. So that was kind of original and then freestyle response. That's absolutely fine. Just you need to remove those expressions like we can see, I can see.
Understood.
And I want you to make use of our website for practicing. We have got website here, so I'm sharing that website now. Guys, just use this website and then practice a few questions, and please let me know how much you score. Just to show you, stop sharing. Okay, I'm going to slide. Yes, there you go. Can you see the website we have here? It's our website. Just practice this one. Any question, I mean, you can practice line chart, bar chart, table, or pie chart. See, I practice using the structure, and then I got almost good score here. Since I was using, I was not using headphone, so it did not give me 90 out of 90. But use headphone when you're practicing. I'm sure you'll get good points. So to use these websites, you just need to use your mobile phone. You'll get a code, OTP code, and then after you can start practicing it. Right now it's free, I guess, so you can practice using this. Let me give you just one thing. In this website, in case of Describe Image, your grammar and vocabulary are checked, but in the real examination, it is not. They are not going to be checked. But we are checking it right now so that we can improve your pronunciation and vocabulary knowledge. That's the point we have. In the days to come, we'll be removing this feature, I guess, and then we'll be looking at 3 different aspects of your speaking, which will be assessed in this question: pronunciation, fluency, and content. So, guys, have you got any question for today? I'm almost done. I love answering your question. I never believe that the teaching should be one way. I believe teaching has to be two-way traffic. If you don't ask question, you'll be going home with confused mind, which I don't want to. So please ask me a question if you have. If you don't have, then we can go to the next session.
For the speaking module, how much would fumbling affect it? Like saying or saying da, like most of us do that. So how much would that affect, say, in terms of fluency or anything else?
Okay, let's understand one thing. If it is natural and it's not that frequent, it's okay. But if it is frequent, I mean, after every sentence you're stuttering and you're using nulls, then it will definitely impact your score. But if it is natural and very rare, it does not. It does not. So let's go like this. We need to understand how much is too much. Until and unless it's not too much, it's fine. I would like to share my personal experience. In recent test, in case of summarized group discussion, I wrote a word accommodation, but after 3 minutes, I forgot what I have written. And then I was just saying acco. And then instead of saying that word, I drop that word and I move on to the next word. Still, I got 90 in the test. So that means 1 or 2 stuttering will not impact your score, but it should not be frequent. We need to understand how much is too much.
As we are all very friendly with the platform itself, PTE Sathi, and once you log in with our mobile number, then we get to this front dashboard of the PTE Sathi, and as we are very friendly with all these sections: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And today's session was speaking, and we got to see all sorts of different types of speaking session. And out of that, today we covered Describe Image. So let's go through like how can we practice at the very best using platform PTE Sathi. So I think we usually recommend our students to go, as we are all very friendly with the platform itself, PTE Sathi, and once you log in with our mobile number, then we get to this front dashboard of the PTE Sathi, and as we are very friendly with all these sections: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. And today's session was speaking, and we got to see all sorts of different types of speaking session. And out of that, today we covered Describe Image. So let's go through like how can we practice at the very best using platform PTE Sathi. So I think we usually recommend our students to go with the lower with the easiest model, where they can actually get the easiest question and then move forward with the medium and then hard and then expert. That actually helps you to get the flow of how to do things, and then as you move forward, then you can grasp that movement. So here, let's go like under easy, and then we can choose one of the specific or just a random one.
Pie chart. Let's go with pie chart.
And let's go with the pie chart. Okay, sure. and start practice. And then we still have got some more options to what sort of questions do you want. And let's say the first bit, distribution of home energy, why not? Practice selected. And then it gives you a pie chart, and then it gives you pretty much all the information that you need to prepare, as you've got 25 seconds. Do you want to quick?
When you get a pie chart, within that 25 seconds, always come up with the highest one, which you can jot down on the paper. The highest one, as you can see here, the highest one is solar power. And then even if it is not highest, it does not make any difference though. Then look for the second highest, which is not visible here, and then go for the lowest. So jot down highest, second highest, and lowest, and then remaining you can group them as similar. So in this context, what I'm going to do is I'll talk about the highest, then followed by the second highest. I would use that expression followed by, and I would talk about second highest, and then I would go for the lowest using in contrast. Then I would talk about what are the remaining items, and I'd say almost similar. And then a short conclusion where I would be just reiterating the title. And when you see a long title, my suggestion to the students, try and make it short, because when you try and say long sentences, it's very obvious your fluency is going to be interrupted. So if I were you giving the introduction, I'd say the pie chart provides information about home energy sources in 2023. I'm not going to use the complete title given there. Because what happens when you say distribution of home energy sources in a sustainable community, I think there would be kind of natural interruption that will take place. So try and make the title a bit shorter, and then go to the highest using the simple language. The highest was in, or highest was occupied by, followed by the second highest in contrast, and then similar like that.
Do we need to talk about the color and all that stuff?
No, not required. No, people used to talk about it in the past, and people nowadays are also talking about it. So, but I don't think when you get a pie chart, you should be talking about the color. Pie chart is not about describing color. It's about describing data. So we need to focus on data.
And yeah, absolutely. Like if we don't know what to do, then always can get a hint and ideas here. And we do have different sorts of like coaching, farming, and templates that you can use to improve the describe image, and then which you can implement as you go in each questions. And then you've got all the strategies, rules, and everything that is actually going to help you how to improve on what you are going to do before giving your answers here. So once you prepare with everything, and then what you can do is just prepare. You actually get 22 seconds, and then by the time after you look through hints and ideas, and then also the templates, then you've got to know what you have to do. And then within this time, then you can prepare the content that you can see within the pie chart or the any sorts of images. And then you can start talking about like the image itself, like the image shows distribution of home energy resources, and then it also shows biofuel, which contains 20%, and solar power that contains 23%, and so on. And then once you're done, you can click, and then you still have got an option where you can retry, or if you want to see, if you want to listen your one voice, then you can still play it to see how you did, and then you can always go and give it a try again. If not, then just send for AI feedback, and that may take a few of your seconds, and then straight away gives you the score. And the score is not only like not only in number like 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90. It gives you on top the good feedback in a very understandable way that actually will help you to improve on your next questions, and so on and so on. And that eventually will help you to boost your score, just like as a tutor helping you to improve, to find your weakness and improve it as you go ahead. So here you can see like how much you got pronunciation. I just got 55, and the reason it says generally understandable, which is great. Keep working on articulating each word clearly. Some words like content could use a bit more precision to sound natural. As Jit said, what are the things that we need to focus on? It somehow it actually helps you to point out what was your actual weakness. As one of our students earlier asked about if we can mumble multiple times or not, and that will flag out here, and then it eventually will gonna suggest you to use at the very minimum rate, so that it do not affect your fluency or pronunciation. So you can see all the factors: fluency, and contents and so on. And then as you go down, then you can see what you did good and what you missed and how did you spell, like once you click it, and then you can also get an idea how to pronounce accurately by clicking here, and also like get an understanding of what that word is actually. So it gives you a pretty much a very in-depth suggestion, in-depth help or in-depth assistance to you on your actual weaknesses that you may have to score what you want. So yeah, it's pretty much. And then once you get that, do not like just go ahead with the next question, because it never will gonna help you if you just keep practicing without improving. You need to know what you did and how you did and what needs to be addressed. So to understand that, you have to go through this quickly and then get an understanding of where you at, and then moving forward, you can keep that in mind and then improve or implement those weaknesses, improvements, or these feedbacks appropriately in your next question. And then
that's when can I add one more point?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, we'll have some practication. It's not about just giving the instruction. So once the instruction will be over, we'll be having some thorough practication. And in that practication, the AI will assess you, and then we human evaluator would also assess you. So we never believe that, just instruction would be everything, right? At the end, the practice is required. So we would help you in your practication as well. That's the commitment I wanted to make. Susan, you can just.
I think, yes, that's pretty much we've covered. Unless there are some questions from our students who are still online, please. Yes, Apeksha, can you go ahead? You have raised your hand. Do you have any question, Apeksha?
Do you have to mention the details? Hello?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Of components or not? Am I audible?
I'm sorry, I missed it. Can you say that again, Apeksha?
Could you please come again?
I'm sorry again, but I think your voice is cutting off. Ajit, are you listening? Did you
No, not exactly the same. Yeah. But you can write your query.
Yeah, you can send a message if you want, or you can check your internet and try to talk again.
And then, yes, I think
yeah, Deepesh was there too. Just give me a page. I'll get back to you, Apeksha. Deepesh, did you had any questions?
Yes, so I speak in a very casual tone, or say shortened English. So I say this is going to, right? I have a habit of saying this is gonna. Is that gonna affect my pronunciation or vocabulary, or is it gonna be fine?
Should I answer this, Susan?
Yes, Jit, absolutely.
It will definitely impact your score, because what you need to understand is PTE is not, PTE academic test is what you're taking. Academic, it's not non-academic. So you have to make sure that most of the time you're using academic expression. Like, gonna, wanna can be fine if you're talking with a friend, but if you're talking with, let's say, if you're taking a test, and in that test you are supposed to use academic language, in that case, it will definitely impact your score. And talking about where it will impact your vocabulary, because you're not using academic dictions or vocabulary there. Having said this, I would say even in case of respond to a situation question where you have to speak with a friend, if that is the situation, you can use that gonna and wanna. I mean, in response to situation question, if the situation demands you to speak with a friend, you can use those words. But if the situation,
that was going to be my next question, because I used some other website, and in some questions it was flagged, like it was in red saying don't use gonna, and in some questions it was